with everything that's happened this weekend, it amazes me that the Republicans have the priorities that they do. At least that they think are priorities. What you're about to see is S.E. Cupp from CNN describing the priorities that the Republican Party, the Republicans, and more importantly, Trumpers have. Take a look at this.
Neanderthals, Dr. Seuss, Mr. Potato Head, oh my. I'm S.E. Cupp. Welcome to Unfiltered. Now, in case you've been too busy paying attention to other things, say surviving a global pandemic, you might not be aware that these are actually the things threatening to ruin American life as we know it. That's right, an ice age species of human that went extinct 40,000 years ago. A wildly popular series of children's books spanning the mid-20th century, and a starchy tuber turned dress-up toy from the 50s are all cause for all caps outrage. These were the stories dominating Republican circles and right-wing media the past 2 weeks, proving we are quite possibly living in the stupidest of times. On just one day this week, Fox News mentioned Dr. Seuss 85 times in 12 hours. Last week, while Congress was attempting to pass a sorely needed coronavirus bill, Fox was obsessing over Mr. Potato Head, mentioning the root vegetable toy at least 35 times on Fox News and Fox Business combined. And Neanderthals haven't seen as good a week since the Pleistocene, with an actual member of Congress running to their defense. What's this all about? I'm genuinely loath to tell you. It's frankly embarrassing that the party of Lincoln has devolved to this, but here's the Cliff's Notes version. Okay, the company that controls the Seuss catalog decided, on its own, to pull 6 of his many dozen books because they contain racist portrayals of Asians and Africans. That's right, they decided to modernize, as it were. No one came for them. No one demanded we cancel Green Eggs and Ham. They made a business decision. It's called the free market, I'm told. That didn't stop right-wing culture warriors from hyperventilating. Megyn Kelly tweeted a meme that said, "Imagine living in a nation where Cardi B wins Song of the Year, yet The Cat in the Hat is deemed inappropriate content." "This about sums things up," she tweeted. Except no, it doesn't. Just factually, Billie Eilish won Song of the Year in 2020. Cardi B isn't even nominated this year. And The Cat in the Hat was not one of the books being pulled. But hey, the culture wars, they don't care about your facts, only feelings of outrage. Another right-wing outlet circulated a post headlined, "The experts have finally come for Dr. Seuss, for our childhoods, and for our children." I'm not kidding. Over to Mr. Potato Head, which I never thought I'd say. Hasbro announced in February it was dropping the Mr. and Mrs. from the toy, eventually clarifying that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head toys would still be on the shelves, but a gender-neutral potato head toy would also be made available. Again, a Hasbro decision that it felt was best for its brand. At CPAC, Florida's own Hasbro Florida rep Matt Gates lamented, "The new Potato Head was, gasp, America's first transgender doll. Hide your kids." And Neanderthals are back in the news after President Joe Biden said, in regards to Texas and Mississippi lifting its mask mandates, "The last thing we need is Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine. Take off your mask. Forget it." Now, I didn't know Neanderthals had a lobby, but they do, and her name is Marsha Blackburn. The Tennessee senator went on Fox Business to defend the poor, oppressed, extinct class, insisting, in the present tense, Neanderthals are hunter-gatherers. They're protectors of their family. They are resilient. They are resourceful. I mean, they're not so resilient. Meanwhile, here's what else is going on. U.S. deaths due to COVID have topped 520,000. Healthcare professionals are worried about spikes after the spring break vacation weeks. The federal government is working to distribute millions of vaccines. Unemployment is at 6.2%. The clock is ticking on a $1.9 trillion relief bill in Congress. Thursday, the National Guard was deployed to defend the U.S. Capitol against another potential security breach on a day QAnon was hoping Donald Trump would be restored to the presidency. That was 2 days after FBI Director Christopher Wray appeared before Congress to discuss the January 6th insurrection, which left at least 5 dead, testifying that racially motivated extremism is the biggest domestic terror threat we are facing. And next week, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin goes on trial for second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter in the death of George Floyd. In short, there's a lot on our plate right now, and Republicans are focused on a smorgasbord of stupid, a buffet of buffoonery. And look, maybe it's all a distraction, because while they're foaming at the mouths over Dr. Seuss and Mr. Potato Head, they're spending real capital on some truly awful things as well. Texas and Mississippi's Republican governors lifting mask mandates just as we're hoping to turn a corner on COVID. Pushing no fewer than 253 bills in 43 states to make voting harder, in particular for minorities. And continuing to push the big lie that Biden isn't the legitimate president, inciting millions of Trump supporters to potentially undermine our democracy and put the lives of lawmakers in danger. Republicans and right-wing media might be having fun at our expense right now, but history will not be confused about this stupidest of times. History will look back at the Seuss Potato Head Neanderthal Wars while Americans were dying with utter embarrassment. Okay, that's it for me.
S.E. Cupp called this the stupidest of times. I can't disagree with her. The Republicans are going off against Mr. Potato Head and the decision by the company that owns Dr. Seuss, while they're at the same time putting Americans in danger by lifting mask mandates for the coronavirus pandemic, for them trying to create a regulation and bills to make it harder for citizens of color, African Americans especially, for voting in the next election, in the midterms, and especially the 2024 election, in which Donald Trump probably might run again as president. Excuse me. The fact is this: the Republicans, they have some very screwed up priorities. Here are my priorities at this point, and I'm gonna make this clear. I just received word, actually today was just announced by the CDC, that if you were vaccinated, you can go in public, you can go in mass gatherings, blah, 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 yak, 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 whatever. If you were vaccinated, congratulations, good work. But that doesn't stop the situation. The next man next to you may not have been vaccinated. So that doesn't mean you can just relax your guard. Wear your masks, wash your hands, socially distance. Use good judgment. I know that good judgment is almost gone thanks to Donald Trump. But I have to wholeheartedly believe that good judgment will win out over stupidity. But in my experience, it's unfortunate that stupidity wins out over good judgment or common sense. So, you want to go out in public? That's fine. You got vaccinated? That's fine. But my number one fear is that if you go into a store, into a Kroger or a Walmart or anywhere else, you weren't vaccinated, and you're not wearing your mask, and you're not socially distancing yourself. My number one fear is how are people, business owners especially, going to know that this person was vaccinated or not? They won't know. It's not like you're going to carry around a card saying, I got that. This is blah, 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 blah. Look at this. I got vaccinated. They're not going to do that. And you're not going to be able to know. So until it is 100% safe, wear your masks, socially distance, wash your hands, do the common sense stuff that we need to do in order to stamp out this virus. Now, we've been through hell the last year. We have to go through it one more time in order to end this thing. And as for the bill for them to try to stop voting, I think it's all just nothing more than another ploy to A, disenfranchise people of color, African Americans especially, from voting, and B, get Donald Trump or what some other Republican, even worse than Donald Trump, back in the White House. And frankly, it's pathetic. Now, they can rage all they want about Dr. Seuss and Mr. Potato Head and God knows whatever else they're pissed off about. But in the end of the day, we need to focus on the primary agenda, making our country stronger, better, healthier, honorable. Because after the last 4 years, if this crap keeps up, those would be nothing more than a dinner party compared to what could have happened with 4 more years of Donald Trump. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to talk about, and I'm not going to spend so much time on it, was the interview. The big interview with the royal family that's no longer the royal family. Merkel and Prince Henry. Honestly, I watched only bits and pieces of it, but from what I've gotten, it was pretty raw, pretty violent, the questions that were asked and the answers that were given, it doesn't paint the royal family in a good light, and frankly, I don't think it's going to. By the time this video is posted on YouTube, the UK may have seen this interview by now. I like a lot of you out there, I watched it on Sunday night on CBS. And frankly, oh man, what I heard was blatantly with some, I don't know, I can't even confirm if it came directly from the royal family or its staff, that a lot of the stuff that was going on was racist. I don't know, but it was pretty disturbing. But I shouldn't be surprised at this, and none of us should be. And that's the real sad, tragic part about all this. None of this surprised us. I mean, what really surprised me was the fact that she was pregnant, and everyone kept asking, "What's the baby going to be?" Not in the sense of is the baby going to be a boy or a girl, but in the sense of what skin color the baby's going to be. What in the hell kind of question is that from anyone? That's pretty damn racist in my book. I feel for those two. I really do. Not because they had the guts to walk away from a royal living, because they're getting so much flack for it. Not just from over there, from here in the United States. It's such a shame. As I said earlier, our country's priorities are very screwed up. And it's time for us to get back to those priorities for us to survive. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.